Well, welcome back to the Canadian Business Conference. My name is Mark Belache. I'm president of TorontoJobs.ca and TorontoEntrepreneurs.ca. Hope you've been finding the event well and you've had a chance to network with some people. I've had a chance to get into some of the networking area and great opportunity to connect with both buyers and sellers here today. And I see some chats as well. So you are also welcome to introduce yourself in the chat if you'd like. And also just to let you know that we actually tack on an extra 10 minutes at the end of the event to do some extra networking and to visit the expo area as well. So we will finish at 4:25 Eastern time this afternoon. So I'm really excited about the panel. The panel is always a great opportunity to really hear from the experts and find out and have a good conversation. And if you have any questions for the panelists, anything you want to know, make sure to put them in the event or the stage chat, and I will moderate the questions. So going around clockwise on my screen, Wayne Lanahan is partner CPACA Lower Mainland leader, Succession Services, MNP LLP. So out on the West Coast, thanks very much, Wayne, for being on here. So maybe, Wayne, you can talk a little bit about what you do and what you're feeling and what you're seeing in the sell your business space right now.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So as my title says, I'm Lower Mainland Succession Leader. So MNP has a bit of a regional model. So I look after sort of the Fraser Valley, Surrey area and sort of lead the team on trying to, promote and engage our clients for succession type services. So lots of, we have lots of real estate and construction out this way. So there's been lots of activity, a lot of, still a lot of growth going on. And I think from selling your business or an exiting your business perspective, we're seeing a lot of traction with employee share ownership. And I don't know if it's because we're doing a really good job of getting out there, but I think part of it is, with the COVID and some business owners kind of waking up and reevaluating where the future is going and maybe making some few changes. And so, lots of activity, lots of excitement. So it's been good. It should be a busy year.
Excellent. Nunzio Presta, founder and CEO of Buy and Sell a Business. Thanks for being on here. Nunzio, why don't you talk a little bit about Buy and Sell a Business and your background as well?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Really excited to be part of this panel. So I'm pretty much guiding the ship at buyandsellabusiness.com. And primarily, we're an online marketplace where people can buy and sell businesses or franchises, ideally in the micro market. So we define that as under $5 million in valuation. And we're pretty much attracting and connecting, a diverse set of members from across Canada. So right now we are approaching, actually we're over 40,000 active users in about 20 different countries. Primarily, most are from Canada. And we're just giving them a good outlet to connect with each other, whether it's the small business owner, the franchise owner, the business broker, or the franchisor.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being on here, Nunzio. We're going to dig in a little bit more as we go along here. And John Carvalho is founder of Stone Oak Capital Divestopedia, Inc. Thanks very much for being on here as well, John. And perhaps you can do a quick intro of yourself and what you do and how you're involved in acquisitions and selling businesses.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate the invite to this panel. So Stone Oak Capital is a middle market M&A advisory firm, do primarily sell side transactions, kind of in that $10 million to $100 million enterprise value. And then Divestopedia is kind of a passion project of mine around educating business owners on everything they need to know about selling a business. Started that up with a partner of mine about 7 years ago or so. Just saw a lack of information and really good knowledge out online around selling a business. So got after it and tried to build a publication around it. And it's we probably have about 100,000 unique visitors coming to the site every month, and really found that the issues around the lower middle market are really a global, there's global relevance and global consistency around the problems that middle market business owners are seeing.
Great. And where are you located, by the way, John?
I'm in Edmonton.
Edmonton. Okay, great. So we have like a good cross section, BC, Alberta, and Ontario. So if you're watching and you're from anywhere across Canada, we have the experts here. So Wayne, what are you seeing like over the last year? Like what changes have taken place as a result of COVID? I mean, obviously COVID has come and we're dealing with it and everything else. But as far as like buying a business or selling a business, like what changes have taken place that you've seen?
Yeah, I think kind of going back to what I mentioned at the beginning there a little bit was that just a lot of activity and a lot of clients and people coming to us as their advisor, I think, and just being more proactive and looking at the different options and I don't know if it's just one of these years or if it's, like I said, maybe to do with the COVID and a lot of clients just saying, hey, you know what, I kind of want my next 10 years to look a little bit different and I want to look at things now and plan. And I mean, the planning is a big part, right? And, and I think we're seeing that, which is great. And then, like I said, maybe part of it is us just sort of getting out there a little bit more and trying to, remind our clients that we're here to help. And, John's sweet spot with sort of what he's trying to do is probably where we're at with our mid-sized market. And, a lot of these clients are very successful, but they need help, right? And we're just seeing a lot of people reaching out, which is good. And like I said, the real estate and construction world out here is still booming. Lots of people making a lot of money. And so that's probably a big part of it, why we see so much activity.
Right. And would you say there's more buyers and sellers or sellers and buyers or very balanced? Like what would you?
Yeah, like I know across the country on our corporate finance side of things, like there's a good amount of activity and there's lots of buyers out there. But I think from what we're seeing, given a little bit of the nature of what we do is we're seeing a lot of clients just want some kind of exit strategy. And if it's today or if it's 5 years from now, they're talking about it and they're reaching out. So it's I could see the next year, a couple of years being very active and lots of people looking to, and not necessarily 100% exiting, but a lot of this employee share ownership part, which has been really big in the last 6 months in our world out here, which, it's always been going on, but for some reason, the last 6 months, it's been huge.
And when you say employee share ownership, you mean owners transitioning over to their employees and creating some kind of share ownership program for them? Is that right?
Yeah, whole range, like, really like just selling to, 2 or 3 employees, the next group of ownership or maybe more of the traditional share ownership where you might have, 20, employees in a mix or, we've seen all of it, right? Going through probably half a dozen right now where there's, who knows where it'll ultimately end up, but it's changing and employees are part of it.
Mm. Sure. And what would you say are the benefits or the pitfalls of that following that kind of method for business owners?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the biggest thing that I encounter is the current owners assuming that they know what the next owners want, if it's employees and maybe not having those discussions and, we did a big one a year ago and, it was a lot of interviewing and you're interviewing a lot of people, not just, the key people. You're trying to really get a grasp of what people really want and how it should really look. I think, even if it's, dad selling to the sons or the daughters or bringing them in, like you need to have those conversations. And that's probably where, you see, the issues maybe, not being dealt with properly. And, then there's always going to be issues whenever time you have a transaction or a transition to another group of owners. You have to obviously put things in place and work through some things. But, there's a lot of advantages because, especially once again, in real estate construction, it's a lot. Often your ideal buyer is your people that are working within your organization already, or you see maybe family, right? So it's a great way of doing things. It's just a matter of taking the time to do it and not assuming that what the next people want, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Great insight. Yeah, very good. If you're just joining, my name is Mark Belache. I'm president of TorontoJobs.ca. Joined on the panel by Nunzio Presta, founder and CEO of Buy and Sell a Business. John Carvalho is founder of Stone Oak Capital and Investopedia Inc. And I've got Wayne Lenehan, partner, CPA/CA Lower Mainland leader, succession services at MNP LLP. So these are the guys you want to talk about selling your business. So if you have any questions, this is the place to ask your questions, throw it in the stage or in the event chat, and I can moderate. So Nunzio, you're at a smaller businesses or whatever than maybe Wayne is. So what are you seeing on the smaller deals? More buyers, more sellers, balanced? What are your observations over the last year?
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting year for many verticals, but with the lens on the micro market, it did okay. We actually saw a lot of asking prices increase, and we believe it's because sellers are just trying to really salvage and maximize value from their pandemic impacted business. The downside from that is what we started noticing was the time on market for most of the listings on our platform actually increased as well. And that was due to this disconnect where many buyers were, and they still are actually looking for opportunities to buy a business or franchise at a discount because of the pandemic. So there is that disconnect, which is increasing that time on market. But one exciting thing that we really saw was the amount of buyers that came to our marketplace. And we think the main driver is unemployment, but we really had this opportunity to go out there and share our story around entrepreneurship through acquisition, and a ton of these unemployed individuals actually made a bold bet to actually explore entrepreneurship through acquisition, and they're seeing the value in buying and building versus starting something from scratch. So we saw these sorts of elements, all happen during 2020. But if I had to summarize 2020, it was just really, less transactions, but actually bigger numbers. So we saw these bigger businesses selling. We actually saw our average connection value shift from $150,000 to about, I think it's just over 500,000 now. So it really paints this picture that the small opportunities are or were dying out, due to a variety of reasons, whether it was lack of resources or strategy to really adapt and pull through. And what's happened is the bigger of the micro opportunities, the bigger players are left now. So that's kind of what we saw in 2020.
Great. And you also recently started up a chat platform, right? Do you want to talk about that as well?
Yeah. So sure. Yeah. So it's actually a private Slack community called Inside Biz, and it's just our way to really double down on our efforts to building out education and community. We really think that's what creates momentum around attracting the right types of people to our marketplace. And that Slack community is basically to help people connect, share insight, and ask questions about buying, selling, or growing a business or franchise in the micro market. So that along with a number of features and campaigns that we recently launched. Like I said, they're really all aimed at aligning with our flywheel around education and community. And this allows us to really analyze our user base, our data, embrace customer feedback, and then with our great group of people working every day, we just apply some imagination to that, and we're really able to drive business results for our users and also provide them with innovative features. Another quick example is we recently launched a new seller feature off of feedback, and it's called our Listing Manager feature. And this enables our subscription-based sellers to add and remove listing managers in real time. So we're really constantly evolving to better serve those high volume sellers, especially.
Excellent. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And John, some of the stats that I've always heard and seen is that 70% of companies don't sell for a multitude of reasons. But what are you seeing, or what do you think are the main reasons why a business won't sell?
That's a great question and probably a loaded one. But I think expectations has to do. That's a big piece. Just either unrealistic expectations or understandably, this is the first time business owners go through the process. So them not knowing exactly what to expect out of the process is natural. But I do think that expectations and just the education around, what's a realistic valuation for your business? What are some of the challenges in selling a business? I think buyer's education too. I can't remember who mentioned it, if it was Nunzio or Wayne, but I think there's a lot of buyers that are interested in buying businesses, but don't have the knowledge on how to go about buying a business. So I think there's just a lot of maybe misinformation, a lot of lack of education out there. And that's really kind of what I'm trying to push out through, my firm and through Divestopedia. But I think that's probably the biggest, and I mean, that encompasses a lot, but I think that's probably the biggest reason why these stats are what they are.
Yeah. Wayne, anything to add to that from a value perspective, maybe?
Yeah. I very much I'm a big believer that, maybe because I got the accounting part of me, but a lot of it is mathematical, right? Like if you can understand and educate, buyers and sellers, and I'm a big believer, like if you can get people in a room, you can kind of work through that. And it's not for me to say that, John should pay 8 times. It's for John to figure that out if he wants to, but John should know what we're multiplying and how the math kind of gets there, right? And so I spent a lot of time doing that just to sort of get, try to figure where the gaps are, because for sure where you get these expectation gaps, and I have one ongoing, and it will probably never happen because this individual just has a number out of, pulling a number out of the sky, right? And he's not buying into sort of the math, but it's and I maybe sort of take more of that soft approach just in general, and just more about education and getting people to talk and figure out where the differences are.
Yeah, and I guess people hear different things, right? They get a number in their head. Maybe they met them at a party, their friend, their a cousin, they heard something, and then all of a sudden that becomes in their head that's the number, right? And there's no mathematical formula that necessarily substantiates that, right? Maybe Wayne, just one other question on that is there these days because of COVID, has it changed? Like, what's more common? Sales, like a multiple of sales? Is it discounted cash flow? Is there a change because of COVID in terms of how you're calculating?
Not so much the ones that I work with, and no, I think for a lot it's still function of EBITDA and multiple, and of course there's maybe some other unique situations, but it's for me anyways. The stuff I've been seeing or touching the last 6 months has been definitely the same approach. And that could just be a nature of what I've been working with in the last little bit, but I wouldn't guess there's a real big change on that in the overall. And you guys would probably John and Nunzio will probably see a little bit more actively.
Yeah, I think on my end, the intrinsic value of a lower middle market business, I don't think changes all that much. I think it's the story around it. It's the access to capital is definitely limits what a buyer can pay. So rather than it translating in the valuation, I think it translates more in deal structure, and that's kind of leads again to the expectation of a business owner. They don't recognize that they have to finance a portion of the deal, or there might be an earnout involved if they want to if there's a big gap in terms of what they expect to do next year. So I think all of that kind of comes together, and there's just so much that's moving around when you're doing a deal. And so little, again, not at the fault of the business owner, but there's so little that they know around, how the process works, that it just creates too much uncertainty and creates kind of, that stat that you pulled out, Mark, around 70% of business owners or business deals failing.
Fair enough. Yeah. Now we have a question from Daniel. So it's kind of a broader question, but any of you have a business for sale to a person not wanting to use their own credit nor equity? No personal down payment amount is not an issue as long as sustained by the previous owner and all the funders of the transaction and the numbers of the business. Maybe just more, it's maybe more specific, but maybe a broader question. And that is, if the person doesn't have money up front, or, earnouts are possible, of course. What if they don't want to take on credit, loans, any other, creative ways of getting a company? Any other deals that you've seen that might work for something like this, where they don't want to use their own credit or equity?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm going to be a little harsh here, but for a buyer that came to me and said that, I'd tell them to get lost, right? I would tell them, like, everybody's going to need somebody to write a check to get into a deal. One of my favorite quotes from Warren Buffett is, writing a check separates commitment from conversation, right? So I think a buyer has to, realize that if you're serious, you got to write a check. You got to put some money on the table to get a deal done. And I think there is a lot of education out there around, on the buyer side of not having to put any equity into a deal, not having to, use the seller to finance the whole deal. That's just not realistic in the world that I see. I don't know what Wayne and Nunzio see, but for me, I would tell a buyer like that to, like, you're not looking at any of my deals that I'm presenting.
Yeah, we don't. So this is obviously outside our core competencies. We don't really get involved in that side of the deals. But I'm with John there. It would definitely be a red flag, right? You want to see commitment in some sort of way, and that check is the commitment.
Excellent. So just if you're just joining, my name is Mark Belage, president of TorontoJobs.ca. I'm here with Nunzio Presta, founder and CEO of Buy and Sell a Business. John Carvalho is founder of Stone Oak Capital and Divestopedia, Inc. And Wayne Lenihan is partner of CPACA, Lower Mainland Leader, Succession Services, MNP LLP. So Nunzio, over to you. You've got a platform that connects people through the internet, whereas maybe John and Wayne are a little bit more one at a time, perhaps. So what are you seeing as the challenges maybe of a buyer trying to buy a business online or get those leads online, and where do you see things going in the next few years with that?
Yeah. So, our position on this is, we're not, you're not buying a business online. You're connecting with a buyer or a seller online, and there's a difference. And we are very transparent in the way we educate our community and guide our community to let them know that, our marketplace is at the very beginning of hopefully a rewarding journey. And a majority of that journey does happen offline, whether it's not in person or limited in person now, but a lot of that happens offline. But as far as what we're seeing, from an online perspective, from a connection perspective, is we do know that 2021 we'll see a lot of inventory down. There won't be a lot of new listings, especially in the micro market year over year. And we think it's because most, especially in the micro market, are thinking about shutting down versus selling. And especially the micro restaurants. They usually represent about 20% of businesses for sale. So there's a big blow there. But I think many of the businesses that are surviving and that want to sell, I also think, they're going to leverage our platform at the same time as, that they're getting tired and they're burning out and they're struggling to keep it open because it is still a very challenging business environment for many. But I think that the silver lining that we're seeing even from a digital play is that the ones that do survive, they're going to be performing really well because a lot of their competition will be gone. So the valuation of those businesses will be greater if they want to, sell moving forward into 2022. And I think the last thing that really excites us about 2021 and moving forward, whether it's in person or online, is the amount of Canadians that are turning 65. I think last time I saw the stat, it was 1 in 5 will be 65 or older by 2024. And a lot of these business owners, a lot of these people have excellent businesses. So we think that this pandemic has definitely been a signal for them to sell. And from the buyer side, we're noticing a lot of activity, and interest in these businesses because they have, in my opinion, they have a great opportunity now. right, where they could buy a business with cheap money, revitalize it, and invest in a strong digital infrastructure and make them remote first. And I think they'll create a ton of value for that business when they end up selling in the future. So those are kind of things we're seeing from an online side in the micro market for 2021 and beyond.
Right. Excellent. Thanks for sharing. We just have a couple of minutes left here. So John, maybe you can talk a little bit about what types of people you would want to connect with. When should someone reach out to you? Or are there certain types of companies that you'd be looking to buy into? Anybody you would like to connect with, and how do they reach you?
Yeah, sure. I appreciate the opportunity to do that. So, my kind of M&A advisory firm is, deal with mid-sized businesses, kind of 10 million revenue to about 100 million is our sweet spot. I guess if anybody's really serious in thinking about selling, I think that period of when you decide to sell to the point you get cash in the bank, a lot of transactional value can be created by just running the right process. So anybody that's really committed to doing that can reach me on my email at jcarvallo@stoneoakcapital.com. That's probably the best place to reach me.
Okay, and is that, John, for Alberta, Western Canada, across Canada?
Yeah, I mean, Western Canada, anybody that wants to have the conversation, I might not be the right person to help them, but I can, have my network can definitely put them in touch with the right person. So anybody in Western Canada that wants to have that conversation, happy to do it. I mean, I'm pretty boutique, so I only take on 1 or 2 transactions a year that are the right fit for me and for my clients, but happy to help anybody kind of think through the process.
Perfect, John. Thanks very much. And Wayne, how about yourself? When should someone reach out to you? You're in the accounting world with M&P. How can you help people, and who are you looking to connect with?
Yeah, I mean, we're, probably, we're not boutique like John. Obviously, we're, across the nation now, national, and our focus is, typically been mid-market, so kind of the same sweet spot where, mid-market for different, the Vancouvers might be different than the Brandon Manitobas, but that's, our sweet spot. And I think, we like it. I like it when clients reach out, in a perfect world, maybe 5 years before they were going to get exit, right? And, there is that performance improvement and that, value enhancement component that often needs to be put in place. But I'm a big believer, like having these discussions at any point in time is warranted. And the discussions you might have with a 35-year-old is obviously going to probably be a little bit different than the 55-year-old, but there's things that need to be done. And so there's no real wrong time to reach out. Maybe there's some more sweet spots on timing, but I think it's just a matter of always having those, should be an annual conversation almost with your advisors. And if people can't have those conversations with those advisors, M&P would be love to have those conversations. So, and like I said, we're a national firm, so there's a lot of resources out there.
Excellent. And Nunzio, over to you to wrap up. Maybe 30 seconds, just pitch something or promote your website.
Yeah, not a problem. So it's simply just go to buyandsellbusiness.com. Primarily, we help a lot of business brokers by being a marketing tool and a productivity tool for them to promote the sale of their listings. And we're also a great search engine for people looking to constantly, search for business and franchise opportunities from across Canada. Like I said, under 5 million in enterprise value. So really focus on that micro market, that mom and pop shop. As far as contact, you can definitely, reach out to me directly, nunzio@buyandsellbusiness.com.
Excellent. Well, thanks to each of you. Nunzio Presta, founder and CEO, Buy and Sell a Business. John Carvallo, founder of Stone Oak Capital, Divestopedia Inc. And Wayne Lenehan is partner, CPACA Lower Mainland leader, Succession Services with M&P LLP. I want to thank everybody for coming to the Canadian Virtual Sell Your Business Conference. The event was presented by TorontoJobs.ca and TorontoEntrepreneurs.ca and powered by Event Logic with a K.ca. Again, my name is Mark Balaish. And let us know how you liked the event or you didn't like it. Hopefully you can give us some constructive feedback. If you liked it, that's great. You'll get an online survey in the next 24 hours. So if you can take the time, just complete it, will be helpful for us. I want to also thank all the other speakers that were on here, Doug Robbins, and great Mark Burkowski and so on. It was great to hearing all these different aspects and these professionals that specialize in this area. If you have any staffing needs, whether it's selling your business or buying something or just ongoing operations within your organizations, feel free to reach out to torontojobs.ca at sales@torontojobs.ca, torontoentrepreneurs.ca. If you're a business owner looking to network, you can check out upcoming events at torontoentrepreneurs.ca, eventlogic.ca. If there's an event you'd like to have put on, you can certainly visit the website. And RobinX, our business broker specializing in helping owners of mid-sized businesses with all transition and succession planning needs. Visit robinx.com. It's RobinX with 2 B's. And TE Capital, did you know that over 70% of small and medium-sized businesses don't sell? Visit tecapital.ca to let the team help you. And I want to let you know about a couple of upcoming events. The Canadian Virtual Lawyers Conference happens next Tuesday, February 23rd from 2 to 4 p.m. And the Canadian Virtual Presidents Conference happens next Thursday, February 25th. We have a great panel set up as well. And feel free to connect with us on all our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And we also have a great YouTube channel as well. There's still 10 minutes to go. You can visit the networking area, get your last minute networking, and there's an expo area as well that you can connect at. And we'll be done at 4:25 Eastern time, so about 8 minutes to go. So again, thank you to all of you on the panel. Thank you to everybody who came today, and wish you well and good luck in selling your business. And feel free to connect with me if there's anything I can help you out with as well. So thanks again, and have a great afternoon and stay safe.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.